Hey guys, my name is Nagi, and I am a newer PoE streamer slash content creator, and this will be my first video. And what I wanted to talk about is how to make currency in the current Fate of the Vaal League 0.4 post temple nerfs. Over the past few weeks, there have been a lot of complaints about the current economy in this league. Everyone's saying that the top-end streamers have ruined it for everyone, especially for the people who don't have all the time in the world to play this game. You know, making things super expensive, currency is all out of whack, things like that. But to be honest, I don't think it's as bad as everyone is making it out to be, and I want to show you some ways to be able to make money and still get good gear and do whatever it is that you want to do in the end game as a newer or more casual player. This isn't going to be a video talking about how you can make 50 to 100 divines an hour. I'm not going to put those ideas into your head because this is not that kind of video. People who are making that kind of money are running the temple and have had a setup temple from the beginning of the league. And this is assuming that you don't have that. If you already have a setup temple and that's what you're doing, this video is not for you. This is for the people who are just getting into the endgame mapping or are unsure about what to do in endgame mapping if they feel a little stagnant with making their currency. That being said, this video is going to assume that you have gotten most, if not all, of your Atlas points, all your regular Atlas points, your map boss points, and your league mechanic points. And we will go from there, and then we'll just jump right in. So mapping has gotten much more profitable than it ever has before. Every league mechanic that you decide to do is fairly profitable, though I find Abyss to be the most profitable of them all. But every strategy, every league mechanic that you decide to farm, if you find it the most fun or the most interesting, will make you money if you decide to focus on it. Just for example, you know, when it comes to Breach, if you max out the Breach tree and you decide to farm Breach, you will get the Catalysts and the Breach Splinters, which actually sell for quite a bit. I believe right now, as of making this video, the Breach Splinters are about 3 exalts each, and if you juice up your Breach Tablets and your Breach Tree, you will get anywhere between 25 to 30 Breach Splinters every time you do it, as well as the Catalyst second drop, when you can drop a full stack of expensive catalysts, and each of those catalysts can go for like 20 exalts each. It's a very easy way to make money, and it's very fun because, you know, the breach monsters come at you fast, and the map gets very intense. Very fun to do. You can also do Abyss, which is what I'm doing currently. The Abyss monsters drop really good loot. You have the chance of getting the Abyss omens and Abyss currency, specifically, you know, like the Abyssal Echoes or the Omen of Light, which currently sells for about 12 or 13 divine, and it's pretty easy to do. There's currently a strategy with the Amanamu mods. If they have the Void, which is that black cloud that swirls around them, if you pull the monster out of it, it will drop a better omen than what you would if you were to kill them in there. Delirium is also fine too. Although Delirium and maps, I have noticed that I don't really get that many of the emotions dropping as often as I would like. I do find that they drop pretty often in the actual Delirium encounter when you gather enough splinters and do the Delirium waves. You will get some pretty expensive emotions that drop, and you can sell those for profit or use them to anoint your own amulet with very powerful mods or powerful passive points that you can allocate from your tree. Rituals is profitable because you can get some really good omens from doing those rituals. The Omen of Whittling, any of the Dextral or Sinistral crystallization omens, and Omens of Corruption and Omens of Chaotic Rarity are all very valuable and very useful for crafting, and can sell for quite a bit. It's usually what I put on, especially in the powerful or deadly map boss maps, when I don't need to put in the regular precursor tablet. That way I can have a chance of getting those powerful omens and make some pretty decent money from doing those as well. And Expedition, although it is probably, out of all of them, is probably the weakest farm, it is still pretty profitable as well. The logbooks sell for quite a bit, and the fragments from when you do the logbooks, which give you access to the boss to be able to kill Orloff, sell for quite a bit. So anytime you do decide to do logbooks, if you get them from the Expedition encounters, can make you a pretty decent amount of money. And juicing maps has been made a lot easier as well with the changes with this league. You no longer have to anoint or desecrate your tablets to get the most juice out of them or anything like that. The only thing you have to do is fight the Arbiter and defeat him for the first time, and then you'll be able to make your tablets rare instead of just magic, so they can have up to 4 mods and really increase the loot in your maps. In most cases, you can just alch and go, like use an Orb of Alchemy, and then just go onto your maps and just call it a day, and you'll make some okay money that way. But if you're looking to really get the most out of your maps and the most out of your tablets, there are some mods that you want to be looking for. On your tablets, there are 2 mods that you're going to be mainly looking for. Number 1 is going to be effectiveness. Effectiveness is probably the most important mod to have on your tablets. It does make the mobs and the monsters in your maps harder to kill, but they will drop more loot, get more experience, and if you have enough rarity, that loot translates to more expensive loot that can drop. The next thing would be just rarity from items dropped from monsters in the tablet. If you get a tablet that has both of those, it's a pretty damn good tablet. You'll make some pretty good money, even if you just want to sell it. But using it for yourself, you're guaranteed to make more because you will be collecting good currency and loot from the monsters you kill. Some other mods to look out for would be increased rare monsters, chance for a rogue exile, anything that helps the league mechanic that you're trying to do give you more loot is always highly recommended. The only one that I would be very careful about, especially in the Abyss tablets, is the one that says the increased difficulty and reward per Abyss pit closed. That can be very, very difficult to complete, especially if you're juicing up your maps. The monsters can hit very, very hard and can kill you almost instantly the further you get into the map and the more Abyss you close. Definitely do not recommend using those on the Abyss Overrun maps, as many have tried it out and they fail their map because the monsters become too difficult to kill. The HP scaling and damage scaling goes through the roof, that even some of the strongest builds and even the strongest players that I've seen fall to it. Other ones could be adding more rare monsters to the map as well, because the more rare monsters there are, the more rare loot can drop. Definitely recommend looking for that as well. But the number 1, number 2 things that you should always be looking for is effectiveness and rarity. Both is ideal, but it's very rare to find those. My general strategy when it comes to mapping is always going to be 2 of the same league mechanic tablets. So for me, it would be 2 Abyss tablets and a regular precursor tablet to raise the level of the area by 1. That way more powerful loot and also more powerful bases can drop if I want to craft on them. If the map has a powerful or deadly boss on it, you don't need the precursor tablet, because if you have the map boss point, where if there is a powerful or deadly map boss in the map, it will raise the area level by 1 already for you, so you can put in another mechanic 1. For me, I personally like to put in a ritual tablet just to get a chance at some of those omens that that can sell for quite a bit of money. Once you've made up enough money, you can really start juicing your maps, and the reality is, if you want to make money, you have to spend some money. And in this case, once you have saved up enough currency and your build is pretty strong, you can really start juicing up your maps. What you can do now at this point is max out the mods on your map by using either an Orb of Alchemy or using your Exalted Orbs to max out the mods completely. Then you would use what is called a Omen of Chaotic Rarity, and you right-click that in your inventory, then you click in Chaos Orb, and it will reroll all the mods on your map to max out the most amount of rarity that it can put on it. And while this will make the map more dangerous, the rewards are much greater. The Omens of Chaotic Rarity at this point in the league, at around the time of making this video, are about 30 to 40 exalts each. So they can be a little pricey if you don't have that much money, but I would say that around this time you should have some amount of money to spend to be able to juice up these maps properly. For example, in my case, when I started juicing my maps pretty heavily, I would take a divine and I would buy about 10 or so Omens of Chaotic Rarity, completely max out the mods on 10 of my maps, and I would just roll them all with Chaos Orbs after that to make sure that they all have that the highest amount of rarity that they can get. Doing this costs about 1 divine and 10 Chaos Orbs, and anywhere between 10 to 20 exalts to make sure that every map is maxed out. So I would say on average about a divine and a half for 10 of these maps. That being said, while that may sound like a lot, it may sound kind of like, whoa, like why are we spending this much money on these maps? On average, you will be making about a divine or 2 raw drops in these maps, on top of all the other currency and items that you may be dropping as well. It'll really help too if you do these on the cleanse map, so make sure if you are looking for those corrupted areas, make sure you cleanse them right away, and do those cleansed maps with the increased rarity. The ones with reduced quantity, those ones can be good or bad, but like the ones with negative experience gain, or they don't give much experience but they have like a very high rarity value, those ones can be really helpful as well. They also have a high chance of dropping those fracturing orbs, which sell for quite a bit. Even with all this knowledge, the main thing is being consistent. You can't just do one juiced map and then go back to doing just regular maps with 4 mods and only 2 tablets and expect to make the same amount of money. You have to be consistent, do every map as much rarity as possible, and try to get as much loot as possible to be able to keep sustaining and making money. There are also specific map bosses and maps that you can do as well to make some money. The ones with the deadly bosses, which are the Jade Isles, the Sealed Vault, the Sacred Reservoir, and the Derelict Mansion. You'll find those on the Atlas with like some sort of effect on them that you can't do them unless you unlock it, essentially. But these maps, they drop very, very powerful lineage supports, or have the chance to, I should say, and the bosses can be difficult if they are juiced up. Just like any other map, if you do them with the league mechanics in there, with your tablets and stuff like that, you're still going to get some pretty decent loot from them. However, the main reward is doing the boss at the end. There is potential for anywhere between 10 to 100 divines worth of loot when it comes to those lineage supports. That being said, they're not guaranteed to drop. Sometimes you might not get some good ones. You might be fighting for your life in that boss fight, and you might get a lineage support that might be worth 1 exalt. But there is that chance, and it is 100% worth taking that chance to be able to get it. And you can also farm citadels if you'd like. Once you've defeated the Arbiter, citadels become pretty easy to find after you find your first one. Once you find your first one, they're always in clusters, and if you just keep going in the same direction in your atlas, or just keep traveling around, you will find more clusters. The fragments that these bosses drop are worth quite a bit. The stone and copper citadel ones, those ones sell for about 200 to 300 exalts each, and the one from the iron citadel sells for about 500 or so right now, as of making this video. If you're worried that your build isn't strong enough to do those bosses, because those bosses are very powerful, they're not ones to be messed with, I would recommend unspecking out of the map boss points to make the boss easier and to just secure the fragment. The fragment, like I said, the fragment itself makes the whole map just worth running on its own as it is. But if you feel like your build is powerful enough and you can do it, go for it. You know, you'll be able to get those fragments if you have a fully juiced up citadel boss. If you have that node that says that makes your powerful map bosses have +1 level, you will drop a guaranteed uber fragment. Just keep a note, there is a reason why the Iron Citadel fragment is so much money in comparison to the others. It's because the damage scaling on the boss for the Iron Citadel is crazy. Even with my 90% armor and 90% elemental damage reduction with my elemental resistances, the ice beams can two-shot me, even with all that gear. So I would be very careful if you decide to run that fully juiced. Otherwise, I would just recommend taking out the boss points and just running the map. And if mapping is not really your thing, you can make use of those trials that you probably have sitting in your stash. You've probably picked up hundreds of them as you're mapping. If you're a loot hoarder like me, I picked them up. I have quite a few. I personally prefer doing the Trial of Chaos because the fragments from the last boss of each trial can sell for quite a bit of money as well. It's not as much money as mapping, I will say, but it is very easy. It takes about 10-15 minutes to run each trial, and you'll make money from them. The fragments sell for about 200 exalts each, and you can get some really nice soul cores, which you can put into your own gear, or you can sell for money as well. The Trial of the Sekima is also pretty profitable as well, but I will say that one is a little bit more tedious, especially if you're going to be going through the entire trial just to get to the final boss of the trial. The rewards are pretty nice. I will say it is more rewarding than Trial of Chaos for the time you put in, but it's if you want to make that effort. If you don't want to make that effort, then you can do something else instead. The loot that you would be looking for in the Trial of Sekimas would be any of the relics that the boss will drop at the end once you kill him, and then any sort of time lost jewels that you might find in the reward room once you beat him. Those time lost jewels can roll really well, and they're very highly sought after depending on the rules that they get. So, but it's more hit or miss. If you get a jewel that has rolls that are just kind of all over the place and don't really match one build, maybe you might not make as much money, but there's potential. That's really what it's about. And all that's left at the end is the temple. The temple probably has the most potential to make the most money out of all the things that you can do in the game. There's a reason why people are running it. There's a reason why people are complaining about it. Even with the nerfs, it is still very, very profitable to do. However, it does take the most amount of time and the most amount of knowledge to be able to run this. It's not easy to set up, but once you do get it set up, it can be very, very profitable. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this mechanic. I find it to be just kind of a little boring and time consuming to be able to run the temple and set it up, especially as you get further and further into building it. Like once you get to about 35-40 rooms in the temple, after you start setting up the loot chain, the monsters can get very, very tanky, and unless your build is up to snuff and very fast and very strong, it's not going to be a good time. I held off on buying a headhunter for the longest time because, for me, I made it a goal for myself to just drop one naturally or do an orb of chance on a heavy belt and hope for a headhunter, and I have not gotten that. However, I had made quite a bit of money, and I was able to just purchase one and use it, and it made running the temple a breeze. That being said, it's not really my thing. I still don't like doing it that much, but I have dropped quite a few items and quite a bit of currency in there, and it is very profitable if that is something that you're very interested in doing. I don't have the strategy personally to provide to you because I'm using somebody else's strategy or how they're building their temple. I'll link a video in the description if you want to follow that, if that is something you want to do. And at the very end, if you don't want to do the snake strategy, you can always do an Adziri rush. Just rush straight to Adziri, get the key, go into a room, kill her. She is not a very hard boss fight at all. I went into it when I was level 89 on one of my other characters, and I didn't even get to see her mechanics. She has no HP, but the items that she drops, and she can drop quite a bit of currency as well, she's pretty profitable to do as well. At the end of the day, you have a lot of options for making currency in this league, whether it's through mapping, or boss farming, or temple farming, or all of the above. You can 100% make a profit in this current league. You don't have to be doing the super juice that the top streamers are doing, because realistically, you won't get there unless you spend your entire life playing this game like that, the way they do. That being said, that's it for the video. If this video helped you, if you have any questions, just leave a comment, and I'll greatly appreciate that. If you have any friends that are kind of learning how to make money, you can share this video with them. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.
The power of the ancestors is mine! I need more time. Target!